The possibility of a major earthquake off our coast is a constant threat.
But new information is challenging what geologists thought they knew, and it's changing the way we look at what will happen someday here. KOMO 4's Eric Johnson has a story.
To live here is to come to terms with it. A horrible, nagging question that we keep tucked away in the back of our minds. What if the big one hits?
We're sitting here with a ticking time bomb off our coast, which is going to break.
It might come, this year, it might come 500 years from now.
New research out of the California Institute of Technology is shaking the seismology establishment. What we once assumed to be true is not.
It's another step in our understanding of fault, but it's a sort of a step backwards.
And it could have a direct, life-altering impact on us, here. Under all of us is what's called the North American tectonic plate. We all live on top of that. And then out here is the Juan de Fuca plate. The Juan de Fuca, as many of us know, is cutting and jamming its way underneath the North American plate. We've known all that for years. But let's take a look at a cross-section here. The very shallowest part of the plate boundary, this light gray area you see down here, we used to think would have a dampening effect on a major earthquake out here, that it would deaden the impact on us in here. But because of what happened in Japan, we now know that's not true. The thinnest part of the subduction zone is called a creeping fault segment. We used to think that these segments are where earthquakes tended to die. And so we believe that a 9.0 quake farther out at sea would deaden in that area and be reduced to, say, an 8 by the time it got to the coast.
And that's where they were kind of wrong in a deadly way.
That's what they thought in northeastern Japan in 2011. The Japan Trench is a creeping segment, much like ours. They didn't think a magnitude 9 was possible. But March 11th of that year changed everything.
One of the worst earthquakes ever in Japanese history.
Tsunami waves were 3 times higher than the walls built to contain them. 19,000 people were killed. The Fukushima nuclear plant was wrecked, creating the worst nuclear crisis in a generation. Seismologists at Caltech have studied what happened in Japan, and they've learned that the creeping segment didn't deaden the quake. Far from it. It actually acted as an amplifier.
That shallow part was not releasing the energy as it came. Instead, it was storing it.
The research is groundbreaking in every sense of the phrase.
It's actually very similar to the earthquake fault that happened in Japan.
The difference between a magnitude 8 and a magnitude 9 isn't so much the severity of the shaking, it's how long it lasts. The 2001 Nisqually quake was just a few seconds, child's play compared to what we're talking about. A 9 would shake for 5 minutes.
We'll see shaking well in excess of the force of gravity in horizontal shaking. You won't be able to stand.
Skyscrapers would sway seemingly forever. The 520 bridge would collapse. Homes would slide away.
Deep-seated landslides here. Rock falls all along here and here.
We're supposed to get a big one every 500 years or so. The last one was 313 years ago.
This is was laid down the evening of the 26th of January, 1700.
We're due. And now we know that we don't know what we thought we knew. When hell is unleashed off our shores, a creeping fault won't do us any favors. Prepare for the worst. Eric Johnson, KOMO 4 News.
The Red Cross is trying to make sure that people are prepared as possible in the event of a major earthquake. Their motto is get a kit, make a plan, be informed. If you go to KOMOnews.com, we have more information in our hot link section.
Police are holding a woman.